hot dog is my favorite meat.
Piggy goo.
I like hot dogs.
Let's talk about what's in your meat. I do love an expensive something.
That's a good point.
Might as well guzzle down some like
Piggy goo.
I was supposed to be nice. They say something happened to me when I got shot. I became nice. And when you're dealing with these people, they're very dangerous people. When you're dealing with them, you can't be too nice. You really can't be. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to be nice. Is that okay?
There you have it, folks. After a Republican National Convention where Donald Trump at least attempted to give this air of a changed man, an individual who's been traumatized by an assassination attempt, who's trying to unify the country. No, now all gloves are off. He's freaking out over Kamala Harris and how much enthusiasm there is around her after, of course, Biden dropped out of the presidential race.
What the hell are you talking about?
And so, not nice anymore, not nice.
Yeah, Anna, did anyone predict this happening?
Yeah, this is the real reason why Cenk wanted to do this story. So let's not waste our time and immediately go to Cenk's prediction. Go ahead, let's watch.
Need an ego check.
Constantly pushing this changed man after the shooting. He magically completely changed. So that's the image they're trying to put out. It's smart, but at the end of the day, Donald Trump's gonna be Donald Trump. You cannot contain him for 4 months. Even if he's able to contain himself in a pre-written speech here by his staff, etc. The minute we're done with this convention, tick, 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 tick.
And by the way, tick, 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 tick,
tick, tick, tick, tick, tick, tick, tick, tick,
tick, tick, tick, tick, tick, tick, tick, tick,
until he's back on True Social going, you know, these Democrats and they're destroying our country and I hate them and somebody should do something about it and look at what they did to me and look at what they did to you know, these Democrats and they're destroying our country and I hate them and somebody should do something about it and look at what they did to me and look at what they did. So that's my guess. Let's see.
Look, guys, there are predictable patterns here. That's why every speech at the convention was like, oh, behind the scenes. You'd never believe how kind Donald Trump is. Yeah, you're right, I wouldn't believe it. But they wanted to say after the shooting, he's a changed man. And as you'll see in a longer version of that clip, he's like, he can't stop saying things that are at the top of his mind. He's like,
they wanted me to say it, I wouldn't.
Of course you can't contain Trump. Of course he's gonna say the meanest, craziest things ever. That's who he is.
Yeah, but no, I get what you're saying. Like he's just outwardly out of control, right? Whereas most traditional politicians, they have this, they have the pleasant demeanor, the professionalism, the statesman.
Correction, sir. Correction.
Stateswoman-like behavior. And then behind the scenes, they're collecting cash, they're making paper, right? They're collecting cash, they're making paper, right? They're collecting cash, they're making paper, right? They're taking the lobbyist money, much like Trump. Trump does that as well. But they're collecting cash, they're making paper, right? They're collecting cash, they're making paper, right?
But Anna, that's the thing with Trump, right?
Yeah.
Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT.
They're collecting cash, they're making paper, right? They're collecting cash, they're making paper, right?
Come back. Lend your support to TYT.
They're collecting cash, they're making paper, right? They're collecting cash, they're making paper, right?
And we love you for it. Like you can't imagine almost anything worse than aiding and abetting a genocide until you get to Trump saying, not enough, finish them, right? And then he called Biden as an insult a Palestinian. Okay, and then on corruption, he's like,
hey, oil executives, Handy's in the corner. If you give me money,
if you give me money, in the corner, if you give me money, right? Come on, man. And then on top of that, he adds in, he's a lunatic. So.
No, he adds in showing us exactly who he is by not pretending to be a kind statesman-like individual. There's like this pretending that he is like particularly horrible when you have all sorts of politicians, not just Democrats and Republicans, who engage in all sorts of terrible policies, who take bribes from all sorts of nefarious figures. Like, Trump immediately attracts the negative media attention, whereas other politicians who might literally engage in the same policies that he champions don't get the same negative media attention because they have that air of professionalism.
Yeah, so when a politician, Republican or Democrat, does the same exact thing, but says it in a smoother way and in a more refined, intellectual way, then mainstream media melts and it's like,
oh my God, what a wonderfully fake politician. Oh, that's
exactly
but
right.
Now the other side of that coin, Anna, though, is also interesting, which is that MAGA gives Trump too much credit for honesty when they mean a different word that sounds very similar but isn't, which is he's authentic. He's authentically Trump. He can't help but be Trump.
True.
Right? He knows the election wasn't stolen. He told some people internally that it wasn't stolen, etc. Right? But he goes, it was so unfair to me. Stop the steal. Right? It was so unfair to me. Stop the steal. It was so unfair to me. Stop the steal. So, there was mules.
But Trump went on during this rally to attack Kamala Harris. So let's just watch a little more of that.
So now we have a new victim to defeat Lion Kamala Harris. Lion, L-Y-I-N apostrophe. She is a radical left lunatic who will destroy our country. If she ever gets the chance to get into office, we're not going to let that happen.
Biden catastrophe.
Yeah.
Lion Kamala sounds like he's saying lion as in rawr, lion.
That's why he had to spell it.
I know.
L-Y-I-N apostrophe.
Biden catastrophe.
Biden. And my new favorite is him pronouncing JD Vance's wife's name. Usha. Usha. Never just Usha. It's always Usha. He's such a weirdo. Anyways, but it's funny. It's funny. So look, I wish Kamala Harris was far left, ultra liberal. Where? How? Right? So they're trying to invent this thing, and ironically, some of the left is helping them. Everybody, like both Trump and the far left, are pretending now that Kamala Harris is some sort of progressive champion. Show me a policy.
What the fuck? Really bothered me. That's gonna kill me. That's real. That lives with us on Earth.
We're talking about the same group of people who couldn't stop like just viciously attacking her during the 2020 primaries because she was a prosecutor.
Kamala the cop, 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 Kamala the cop. And now it's like Kamala the cop, 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 Kamala the cop. And now it's like, no, we are coconut pill and we love her. We are coconut pill, we are coconut pill and we love Kamala the cop, 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 Kamala the cop. It's amazing, and she's gonna
Save us from from Donald Trump.
Kamala the cop, 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 Kamala the cop.
Okay,
So good news for you, Anna. All you gotta do is become a Democratic politician, and all of a sudden the far left will enjoy how much of a cop you are.
Yeah, I'm not interested in anyone enjoying me. I am who I am, okay?
Well, that's certainly true. Okay, you get authentic and honest with this one.
Yeah, rawr.
And this, by the way, I like some of Trump's nicknames. I think they're goofy and hilarious, and some are stupid and awful. But this one, not a winner. Yeah, Anna's right. It sounds like she's a lion, as in
rawr,
a champion, king of the jungle, etc. And then if you
lion with an apostrophe.
If you have to spell the nickname, it's not gonna work.
I'm not interested in anyone enjoying me. Biden catastrophe.
So the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl. That's the way she got where she is, and the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough. That was harsh.
A regular on Fox Business, Alec Lace, made that lewd comment about presumptive Democratic nominee Kamala Harris, essentially referring to her as the original Hawk-Tuah girl. Now, for those of you who haven't been following that meme and don't know what it's about, take a look.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that Hawk-Tuah and spit on that thing. You get me?
Okay, so obviously he was making a reference to oral sex. I do think that if you look at her record, there are areas where they could target her on substance, but they seem to be unable to do that, and instead they're leaning into oral sex, this kind of garbage.
Don't try to push Kamala out and put her in, or have Kamala, who's dumber than a box of rocks. She's basically a fleshlight.
Referring to Kamala Harris as a fleshlight. Also called her dumb, which is hilarious from a guy who accidentally sent over all of the data from his cell phone to the lawyer representing the Sandy Hook families. I mean, it's just, okay, you wanna call her dumb? Fine. I mean, maybe look in the mirror for a second.
And accidentally showed the trans porn that he was watching on his phone to his audience. Oops.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair to him, he says everybody does that. Okay.
Do they?
Do they? Interesting. So now we're talking about who these candidates dated. So while his wife was pregnant, and then while she was taking care of their newborn baby, Trump showed the trans porn that he was watching on his phone. Sexually assaulting a reporter. He's sleeping with porn stars. Trans porn. He got out of Vietnam by pretending that he had bone spurs in his ankle. He can't remember which one, but he did say that his personal Vietnam was orgies he attended at the time, and that he avoided STDs, and he was super proud of it.
Are we still talking about who people dated in the past?
Matt Walsh said, oh, well, she was begging for handouts from men. What do you think Donald Trump does? He went to the oil companies and said,
please give me $1 billion. I'll let you ruin the country. I'll let you destroy the planet. I'll let you do anything, please.
And then he went over to Miriam Adelson, and then Miriam dog walked him around the casino at the Venetian. I don't know if she put a little chain on him, but she's like,
hey bitch, if you want my $90 million, you'll do exactly as I told you.
And Trump's like,
okay, I begged you like I begged your husband.
Right? So what happened now, tough guy?
Hey bitch.
I mean, I thought, okay, they're gonna really double down on the immigration attacks, right? Because
hey, bitch.
Biden did set her up for failure by tapping her to deal with the border, tapping her.
Hey, bitch.
She doesn't have any power. I mean,
hey, bitch.
tapping. The VP is really
hey, bitch.
Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly decided to attack her, not on policy, not on her record, but on her smile. Let's watch.
It's a little much, isn't it? I think she's a little bit too happy. I don't mean to sound at all sexist, all right, but I think a man could not smile like that. Can you imagine?
Look, I know that this isn't a political candidate, but has he ever witnessed Tucker Carlson laughing?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, men would never laugh like that except when Tucker Carlson goes, what the hell is that? Awkward smiles? We're talking about awkward smiles? I remember a certain bobblehead named Ron DeSantis going out there going, yeah.
Well,
okay, yeah.
To be fair, that did hurt him politically.
Yeah, all right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Joe, let me talk to him.
You want to talk to us?
Okay, fuck you.
Khalif, they say, has identified as a woman his whole life. They say there's no indication Khalif is trans. So the Olympics thinks it's fair for a genetic male to punch a woman so hard in the face she quits and cries, as long as it says female on her passport. And they're gonna let this guy keep beating up women in Paris, and they're just gonna hand him a gold medal for it?
So
So that was obviously gross. I mean, it was Jesse Waters. You knew that it was going to be pretty gross. It also represents another retreat on the right where before they would claim that they want to focus on biological women who have the right genitals. Well, now that's not good enough. So he's taken a step back from biological woman to genetic woman, which doesn't even mean anything. Some people immediately began tweeting that Khalif was trans and that this was a man engaging in women's sports. Of course, Khalif is not trans, but what do you think?
Jesse Waters said, they say this about her, they say that. Who's they? So I was curious, who's saying it? Because if it turns out she failed a test, and this to the great frustration of a lot of people on the left, I do think past high school that it's okay for organizations, whether it's professional organizations or the Olympics, to do testing and to say, hey, we're going to even exclude trans athletes. Okay, so a lot of the people on the left will disagree with me on that. Some of you, obviously, some folks on this panel disagree with that. Yeah, boy. The people, who was the they? It's IBA. Well, it turns out this boxer beat a Russian female boxer right before the last competition where the Russians really wanted to win, okay? So all of a sudden, the Russian leader of the IBA, it says, oh, well, golly gee, I think she might have failed the test, okay? Do you wanna know where this news story was leaked to? It was TASS, a Russian news agency. And when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, I thought we weren't paying attention to the Russian news outlets anymore. I thought they were propaganda, etc. And now all of a sudden, everybody's like,
well, the Russian news said it must be true, okay?
So this is garbage. You Republicans think it's a good idea to focus on the potential testicles of an Algerian boxer? Have at it, Hoss. I can't, go for it. You look like garbage, idiots. You're making a giant case out of this like,
oh, this is the most important thing in the world. Does she have potential testicles or not?
This is so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on this, but I will say, and I will push back because I do feel like some of the anti-trans athlete speak is a slippery slope into broader anti-trans behavior. She's a massive unit. And so when we start to say that trans people can't play an Olympic sport, everyone becomes a cop and everyone starts to look at everyone's makeup and their muscles and their cheekbones and what looks different and what they think in their subjective mind a woman or a man should and does look like. It does lead to things like Jesse Waters openly saying that on primetime television. And I want to just center that when we stand with trans people, yes, even trans athletes, that all goes away and we stand with them no matter what. But you start to dabble and you open up, everyone becomes
genital police.
And I just have to push back on that. And you've done it.
And you've done it.
I totally disagree.
Done it.
Fight.
I totally disagree. So, first of all, when you have an extreme
Obviously
position, idiots. No good, we're going, no good, we're going, no good. Idiots. No good, we're going, no good, we're going, no good, we're going. Idiots. You have an extreme position that says no. Idiots. No good, we're going,
don't ever ask anyone.
And you've done it,
I
Jake.
totally
You've
disagree.
done it.
You have an extreme position that says no. Idiots.
No good, we're going,
don't ever ask anyone. We're going, idiots. And I think the Olympics position is actually absurd. They don't do any genetic testing, they don't do any testing. So you could, since they don't do any testing at all, you can just walk in, call yourself a female, not be trans. Trans people are actually
do it, Jane. Do it.
Okay, yeah, all right, well, you can say it, but then what's going to happen?
Rugby,
Somebody's going to do it, and they're going to get away with it, and then everybody's going to be furious. Okay, it's all right. I can't stand it, and it doesn't help trans people at all to have these extreme positions. Oh yeah. Don't test anyone. Just take their word for it. I think it's terrible politics.
It's not an extreme position. It comes from a position of human rights, and it does help.
It's
all
not a
people.
human right to compete in the other gender's
What you see there is when what you just saw are women, are biological women being attacked for being trans because of the anti-trans athletic narrative. We all stand in solidarity together. That's how we actually fight the right when it comes to their bull crap. Look, I understand, Jake, you're in the majority. You're in the majority. I'm in the minority. Most people disagree that trans athletes should participate in Olympic sports. Most people don't agree with me. But hell, man, I'm willing to stand on a hill that is unpopular and fight for people and for their human rights.
Yeah, look, we could spend an hour debating this, and I have in the past. But when
not really though.
Yeah,
not really. Not really debate. More of an agreement.
Okay, whatever. I'm happy to debate anybody about it. I think I don't agree.
Okay.
And you're never going to get me to agree by saying it's
the left-wing position. It's a pro-trans position.
I don't think it's a pro-trans position at all.
You should just offer a platform.
Okay.
You don't have to agree.
All right. So when your opponent is in the middle of doing something radical, step out of the way and let them do it instead of stepping in the way and saying, "Hey, I'm more radical." Okay, I think it's terrible politics. It's terrible for trans people. I think it's terrible for the LGBTQ community, and I think it's terrible for the people who are looking to defeat Trump. So can we please get out of the way and let the Republicans do the dumb things? Idiots! Idiots!
I think they just keep pointing at people who aren't trans and saying they're trans. In sports, even not. Michelle Obama gets to be trans because they need someone to be trans. The wife of Emmanuel Macron has to be trans because they need someone to be trans. They have to invent fictional trans people to talk about.
That's exactly my point, and I totally agree with John on that, even if we might disagree on the other things. But if the Republicans are making a giant deal out of how much they hate those 7 people, okay, let them punch themselves in the face over and over and over again. So and by the way, I found the quote of the idiot who runs the IBA. He called the head of the IOC a
chief sodomite.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, and so look, when the Republicans are like,
"Oh, I love that guy who called the other guy a chief sodomite."
Great, wonderful. Here, come, just tell everybody, because you look so stupid and hateful. When
not really though.
Yeah,
not really.
This is garbage.
It's in your pants. It's your genitals. Oops, that's not good enough. It doesn't matter if you were born with a vagina.
Not really.
But also, to be clear, if they wanted to talk about how important female athletes are and their amazing accomplishments and all that, and if they could ever bring themselves to do that without it being about a trans athlete, Katie Ledecky became the most decorated American woman in Olympic history. Simone Biles is now the most decorated female gymnast in world history. Not interested whatsoever because women are irrelevant. All of this is a defense mechanism from a movement of misogynists that know how regressive they look when it comes to women and are constantly desperately looking for a shallow cloak that allows them to pretend that they give a damn about women for even a single second. That's all this is.
Amen.
Yeah.
And also, just a correction, it's cisgender, not biological.
Well, excuse me, princess.
So let's just be able to say cisgender women. We should normalize cisgender. That's easy enough for us to do.
Idiots. So dumb. This is garbage.
A massive unit.
No good, we're going, no good, we're going, no good.
Idiots.
No good, we're going, no good, we're going, no good, we're going.
Idiots.
When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Let's face the consequences and the reality. Well, doesn't this mean that non-parents don't have as much of a voice as parents? Doesn't this mean that parents get a bigger say in how our democracy functions? Yes, absolutely.
That's so dumb. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's super dumb. By the way, we will delve into this in a future story, but JD Vance has described himself as a post-liberal conservative. Now, what does that mean?
Nothing.
No, Jake, you're wrong. It actually means something.
Okay.
Okay, post-liberal conservative, we're not talking about liberal versus conservative. We're talking about liberal democracy.
Oh my God, you're right. So that's my bad. Normally,
You want to keep laughing?
what he means is post-liberal democracy. And I'm like,
Yes.
whoa,
Yes.
people say that out loud?
Yeah.
And I asked him, so if you're in favor of a monarch, isn't that just a dictator? Well, basically, yes.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, then what if the dictator decides to kill you? There's nothing you could do about it. And I mean, go back and watch the interview. My general sense of what his answer was, oh.
Yeah, that interview was embarrassing for Yarvin.
Like, look, if he said reasonable things, then I wouldn't notice his serial killer eyes. But when he's like,
now we need to get rid of democracy. And the only women who produce for men should be allowed.
then I'm worried that you're gonna ask somebody to get in your van.
You want to keep laughing?
And again, this may not be fair, but I'm just telling you what the polls show. Many Americans think that the vice president is a little bit of a ding-dong, that she's not serious.
Well, this ding-dong senator has risen in the polls.
That is a weird line of attack. She giggles, so she's a ding-dong.
No, look, she has an awkward laugh that lasts too long, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. It doesn't make them worse on policy.
No,
Okay.
it makes them total ding-dongs, okay? It depends, are they men?
Right, they are men.
Oh, never mind, they're not
Okay.
ding-dongs.
I'm
So
gonna
they can
come-
laugh awkwardly as much as they want.
Most important, who cares about the laugh? Who cares about the laugh?
And when I'll tell you who cares about the laugh. Sorry to interrupt you, I'll tell you who cares about the laugh. Previously, I would have agreed with you about Kamala Harris's laugh being awkward, it lasts too long. It was especially true in the context where she would make weird statements, where she sounded like she just took a Xanax pill. I'm realizing I was wrong, okay? First of all, the awkwardness in public speaking has gone away. She's a lot more confident, and I'm so happy to see that. But Americans have been dealing with the toxicity of politics for years and years now. That lightness is actually appealing to voters.
Yeah, I think so too.
How could you not giggle after watching Senator Kennedy's campaign ad where he's attacking defund the police and then urges people who are victimized by crime to call a crackhead? Like, how do you not giggle at that?
I mean, for 100 things, Bart, you got them lined up?
This was my ass. That's kind of nasty.
Okay, so that first part was Kennedy in a Senate hearing.
Yeah.
This was my ass.
This was my ass.
How are we not supposed to giggle at that, brother?
Yeah. Okay, Neil Cavuto himself voiced his concerns over these types of attacks against Kamala Harris. But apparently, Senator Kennedy is undeterred. Let's watch.
I don't care about her gender. Neil, maybe you do, but I don't. I don't care about her race. I care about her
Then why
competence.
call her a ding-dong? Then why call her a ding-dong?
And I'm telling you what the polling shows. I'm telling you what the polling shows. And it does. And I'll be glad to sit down with you and walk you through the polls.
Please do, because I
think
never
that-
know when it's constructive to call people names.
Oh my God, that was my favorite part of this exchange.
I didn't call her a loon. I said she's a member of the loon wing of the Democratic Party.
You're calling her a loon. That means you're calling her a loon. Okay. Then why call her a ding dong? Why call her a ding dong? It was so good.
But when you call her these things, do you think it helps or hurts the party? And he said, well, I'll tell you what, that's my ass.
Look, I don't really like making fun of accents, right? But the reason why I do it with him is because isn't it like made up? Like he didn't have that accent before.
No, I don't know about that.
Not to that extent. He's like really yucking it up. That's what I'm trying to say.
I have no comment on that.
Yeah.
I don't remember his accent from before.
I could be wrong. Look, I don't really like making fun of accents, right? But I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, the Democrats are afraid to lose the ass, penis, groomer.
I could be wrong. Call a crackhead. Like
this was my ass.
He was. Oh my God.
Hey, wait a minute, no, what are you going crazy? So don't do that. No, Jesus Christ, no. What are you crazy? You're talking, oh my God. No!
Out Benny, to mix this up, to mash this up. Out Benny, mash this up in his TYT mashups, which are very entertaining, and I highly recommend you watch it. Out Benny.
Give me money.